Let's go. Let's
All
go.
right, cool.
Let's go.
So you,
We just took a quick break, people. Our fault. We gonna make this part two, but like go back to but so like go back to like what you were saying before. So
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So when I was talking about like with different artists, like when I was talking about before was um let's see, we were talking about how um with the artists in terms of what they were told to talk about and their music, but then we also switched over into young men who have no presence of a parent.
right.
So my question for you, when you talk about no presence of a parent, you mean like no parents at all, or do you mean like a single parent at least, or which one, or do you want me to talk
Uh
about both?
like
I know.
either or.
So I would say when you don't have any parents in your life, like let's say
Hmm.
no parents and all you know is the streets,
Yeah.
I think that's a little harder to have guidance because if all you know is the streets and you didn't have your parents, the only person you have is the next D boy on the block that everybody looks up to. So
Basically, right.
so in a sense, you fall in line with that and start looking up to him too because you really don't know, you really don't know which way you trying to turn and what's right and what's wrong. You learn what's right and what's wrong through the streets, but you don't learn it from sitting in classrooms and being in civilized settings where
Right.
you learn right and wrong from as well. It's
Hmm.
from a different angle, from a different point of view, because when you are in the streets, there's the code of the street. The way the streets work isn't the way life works in general. The
Right.
way the street works is the way the streets are by themselves.
Hmm.
Now, when you have a single parent household, which is what I came up in for all my life, um, you have it's that one parent's responsibility to guide their kids,
Hmm.
but you can't do everything.
True.
You
Again.
cannot do everything. And it's like, for example, a man can't teach a boy how to be he can teach him how to be a father, but he can't teach him everything under the sun.
Hmm.
That certain thing he can't teach him how to be nurturing like that. A woman
Right.
has to teach
Okay.
him.
Right.
And sometimes when you are raised by one or the other, there's a certain gap that you miss or that's formed because of what's missing. Like for example, a woman can do a bunch of different things. They can wear a bunch of different hats.
Yeah.
But I always have felt and believed that there's something that where the father has to be involved.
I agree.
Where there's certain things that if a father's involved, it closes the gap. It's not
Yeah.
saying that a woman can't teach it. It's
Hmm.
just that the experience is going to be different
True.
because they're teaching
Very
it
true.
versus if you have that male presence. So to answer the question, it's hard when you don't have a true mentor or
Hmm.
parent present.
Right.
It's hard because you're gonna go with what you know. But if you have a
Hmm.
single parent, you're gonna go with what they taught you and what
Right.
they showed you through experience because having that support, having that nurturing support from your parent or
Hmm.
parents
Right.
basically really make up for how a child is molded. Because
Right.
now you have the values that your parents have taught you
Right.
versus what your peers and what the streets and everything else is teaching you. And
Right.
as a child, you're a sponge. You're absorbing everything, especially
True.
if it includes things that your parents warned you against and don't want you
Mhm.
involved with,
Right.
because that's just how it is.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with everything you had said, Craig. And it's me being me being like one of the people who had grew up in a single parent household at one point in time of my life. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like as a young man, you definitely learn for that male figure. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Now with me, I had my older siblings. I had my older sister and little brother, and like I had hung around sometimes with my older brother and his friends. You know what I mean? Now, granted, some of them was doing some stuff they don't miss doing at that time, but when it came to me, they always had protected me. You know what I mean? So it's like the guys in the
yeah,
street in that street life, I can't judge because those people had also looked out for me when I was a kid. You know
Yep.
what I mean? It's like they didn't like if I was to like get into that lifestyle of the streets, like not just my older brother, but his friends would not even like allow me to even like attempt to do it. I get pulled out easily.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because like they didn't want that for me. So it's like I can't judge, you know, the guys in the street. Now I'm like not saying that like I condone, that the activity that like goes on, but at the same time it's like the people who are in that lifestyle, I can't judge them because I don't know what they had been through. I don't know if they had, you know, I don't know how they had like grew up. You know what I mean? Like for the young kids today, and I believe I saw this in like some like documentary. I forgot
Mm-hmm.
what state this was, but it was doing a documentary on this one state, and there was some of the young people in this area, and most of well not most, but like some of the young guys who live in this area was in a single parent household. All of them had single mothers. Now,
Right.
some of the mothers was on drugs, so the mothers really couldn't. I mean, during that time, the mothers wasn't raising their sons the way they were supposed to. I mean, because like some of them were they had fell into drugs, and so like it's like the kids had to grow up on their own, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you look at the people who live that lifestyle, it's
Mm.
like, can you really sit there and judge them if you know their how they were raised and how they are now? You couldn't really judge them because it's like if you was in that position, what would you do?